Well, I'm betting it's blown at number 3 and probably number 4. Oil filter's in the way to look at 1 and 2, and the manifold is on the other side. I can't see it there. But that looks like where she's blown. I ran her back from the top of the road the other day. She got warm. She was spitting out the overflow. Of course, you really can't tell now, but she was just puking pretty much pure oil out of the radiator. Yeah, that ain't good. I think we got a blown head gasket. Welcome back, everybody. It's time to get started on the 8N head gasket project. And I'm a little concerned. I mean, we're talking about a 75-ish old tractor. And when you start taking these things apart to fix one thing, you usually discover 15 other things, and they kind of snowball on you, if you know what I mean. If you've wrenched on old iron, you know exactly what I mean. So I am hoping I can just do a head gasket and not let this turn into something more than just the head gasket. So with that said, here we go. Let's get started. Well, the first part of this head gasket project on the 8N is to clean, organize, and rearrange this side of the shop because it's a total disaster. I want to be able to bring the old Ram 3500 in here and park it at night, keep the pack rats out from under the hood, and at the same time be able to work on the 8N. So this I'm going to clean up, reorganize, and rearrange. I'm going to do that off camera because you guys want to see the head gasket job, not me cleaning a shop. So when I bring you back, this will be totally metamorphosized or whatever. And we'll bring the 8N in. I always like to keep repair and service manuals around for the various relics that hang around here. In this case, I've got a Gen Sales manuals, and these are okay. They're basically copies, literally Xerox copies of the old manuals. So some of the photos aren't very good, but the text is excellent. So I'll read through here what needs to come apart and what doesn't. The big thing I was looking for, which I found, was the head bolt torch specs and the sequence for tightening the head bolts and nuts. When I remove that head gasket, I'll just use this, remove them in this order, and when I put it back together, I'll put it back in the same order and then torque it to the specs. Much better. I'm about 95% there. I still have a couple things to take care of, but yeah, it's much more user-friendly in here. So let's see, the new head gasket is arriving tomorrow, so there's no point in stalling any longer. Let's get the Ford 8N in here and get started. I guess if I expect it to start, I better charge the battery up. This is kind of tricky. They don't exactly make it easy to get to the battery connections. These old N-series Fords. I was watching a live stream last night. Hi Spider Garage, and Mike from Getting Greasy Garage chimed in on the comments. Sorry, horrible camera work here. And he suggested, rather than hang on a second. There. Anyway, he suggested that I put a flathead V8 with the aluminum tri-power flathead Merc V8 in this thing. I wouldn't disagree, but no. So we're set up on 6 volt, 6 amp, and yeah, she was down. She's charging. I've had this EverStart battery charger for almost 50 years. And I'll tell you right now, it works better than any of the new smart chargers, because if your battery's dead and you plug in a smart charger, it won't charge it. But this old EverStart, she'll do it. I guess I better take care of this flat tire while I'm at it. Fire in the hole. Maybe. Maybe not. One more time. Elixir that did it. This is my cheap Walmart tripod. I've replaced every metric fastener in it because they break off in plastic, if you can believe that. Well, she fell apart down here, so to get my height adjustment, I got to clamp a vice grip on there. Yeah, this is truly a scrap operation. So the first thing I'm going to do is disconnect the battery, because now this thing is inside the shop, so I don't want the battery hooked up. You never know if a rat got under the hood and chewed a wire. And the last thing I need is for this thing to go up in flames and severely damage my shop. Let's disconnect the battery. We will drain the radiator, and then we're going to get that hood off of there. I apologize for the view. It's not the best, but I think you get the idea here. Remember, if you don't see it on YouTube, it didn't happen. Some may think I'm a little too anal about this, but you know, George the Shade Tree Fix-It Man had his truck burn up on him a little over a year ago. Shortly after that, Waylon Wire's beautiful square body Chevy truck went up in flames. And then here just this last April, Waylon Wire's Dojalac rat rod went up in flames. So I'm taking a lesson from two great YouTubers. Go the extra mile and just take a couple extra minutes and do the safety precautions. I mean, it took me a lifetime to get this shop, and I don't want to lose it. Well, let's see what we get here. It's plugged. So far, it's nothing but antifreeze. We'll wait a minute and see if we start getting oil. Well, there really isn't that much oil in there. It could have blown out the overflow tube when it initially got warm that one time. But I was expecting a lot more oil. So I checked the forums on yesterday's tractors and a couple other sites. And it makes sense to me. This block could have frozen. There could be a crack in the oil galley. Also, this thing is an oil burner, so it could be blow-by from the crankcase coupled with a blown head gasket, forcing oil into the radiator. Be that as it may, I'm still going to pull the head off and do a further inspection. Well, I've given this more thought. If the block had frozen and put a crack in the oil distribution anywhere, I would have leaked a lot of oil really fast into the cooling system, and I'd have no oil or very little oil in the crankcase. I'm not losing that much. It's down a half a quart, and as you saw, there wasn't really hardly anything in the radiator. I think when it initially got hot, it dumped what oil was in there out the overflow. You saw earlier when I pulled the radiator cap off, there was some residual oil there. So I'm leaning hard on the blow-by theory. Rings are worn enough. I'm getting a lot of crankcase oil. This thing does burn oil, especially when you crank it up. You get a pretty good blue cloud out the back. So that's what I'm guessing. I've got a blown head gasket. She's sucking crankcase vent past the rings into the cooling jacket and eventually ending up in the radiator. So that's my theory anyway. We'll find out. This video is getting kind of long. I knew this was going to be a multi-part series, so I'm going to end it here, and we'll pick up on it again in a few days with the hood coming off and the head coming off. We'll know the whole story. My new head gasket isn't here yet. I was supposed to be here today, and at the last minute the tracking changed. Oh, now it's tomorrow afternoon. Great. But hey, also welcome new subscribers. I've got some more. Thanks for stopping in. Glad you're here. And as usual, for my existing subscribers, you keep putting up with me, so I thank you for that. I'm going to sign off. We'll catch you on the next video in this series. Later, everybody. Yep. They both fit.